Hello everyone. My name is Mahmoud. I'm a student of Lambangkot University, and welcome to my video. In this video, I'm going to talk about everyday English manners. So, in this video, we're going to talk about some behavior that people outside of our country, Indonesia, are doing. And in this video, specifically, we're going to talk about United Kingdom. In my explanation, it's more all about how British people behave, how British people manage themselves, and there are 12 English manners that we can learn. So let's start with the very first one, and that is walking in public. So the very first thing to notice is keep right. What does that even means? Keeping right means we have to walk on the right, unless we are in the UK, Japan, or some other country with talking on the left would be the north. This helps us to avoid the awkward dance we do with strangers when we cross paths, which can be really irritating if it's very crowded. Then do not stop in moving traffic. Additionally, do not ever stop at the top of stairs, especially in front of the metro. When it's very crowded, do not push. The person in front of you might have nowhere to go. And that is the thing that you need to do when you walk in public, especially in Northeast Kingdom. And in the second, we're going to talk about queuing. In the UK, wherever there is a mass of people, you'll find an orderly queue. British etiquette dictates that when we arrive, we join the back of the queue so each person receives the set in order that they have run. The common British trait is that despite everybody in the queue being annoyed with someone who has pushed in, very few people will ask that person to go back to the back of the queue. British people do not like to cause a scene that arguing, but likewise, we like people to know we are annoyed in several ways. Instead, people will shake their head, roll their eyes, tug and or have an angry facial expression. They may also complain to the person next to them in the queue. And then the third is handshakes. A good term handshake is a common way to greet someone in a business or social situation. People might make assumptions about you based on your handshake, so it's so important to get right. For example, if you over a limp handshake, it can give people the impression that you are disinterested or not confident. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on giving a good handshake in the United States. First, firmly grasp the other person's hand. Second, get the pressure right. Do not crush the other person's hand, but equally do not over a limp hand. And then third, check that your palms are not splitted. Tap lightly and discreetly on your clothing before shaking someone's hand if needed. And fourth, keep it brief. Shake the hand just 2 or 3 times before letting go. And the last one is accompany the handshake with a direct eye contact and smile. And the number 4 is being demonstrative, British humor. So being demonstrative is more about how we talk and how we accept jokes. So British humor on the side of sarcasm and is often centered on irony, sometimes painful observation of ourselves and others. The British humor to make the best of situations to lighten the mood. For example, if you spend a lot of time in the bathroom, your homestay might sarcastically ask, "Why are you hiding in your room? Has your hands turned pink?" In this case, your homestay doesn't really think your hair has turned pink. They have noticed that you're spending a lot of time in your room, and then they're joking that it's pretty because your hair because your hair has turned pink. You might find it difficult to get used to it first. The most important is that you don't take British humor seriously. If you can laugh at yourself, you will be well liked and respected. And number 5 that we can talk about is minding your PS. So what does that mean? Minding your PS also means minding your PS that we're gonna talk later. We're gonna talk next. In English language expression meaning mind your manners. Minding your PS. And minding your QS means mind your language. Be on the best behavior watch what they are doing. So remembering to always say please if you're not doing it, you might be told to mind your PS or more specifically to say please, and then you just thank it. And then As a promise, we're going to talk about minding me few aspects. Rich people can say thank you as well as please so many times. This concept of polite, well mannered, and is regularly after a speech. What might surprise you is when we are in shop, restaurant, or anywhere we are receiving customer service, saying thank you to the person serving us when they give you change the bill or come to give you the free insurance. And every social transaction is very expression of this phrase from both parties. And number seven is apologizing. So in the UK, people have a tendency to over apologize. For example, if you tell someone about something unfortunate which has happened to you, it's quite likely that we'll apologize. For example, I'm so sorry to hear that you haven't been well. Rich people cannot resist the urge to apologize. For example, if someone excessively bumps into you, it will be common for you to apologize and say, "I am sorry," as though you're sorry for being away. If you have reserved and a second train that somebody is sad in it, it will be common to say, "I am so sorry that you appear to be sad in myself." If your over an apology is considered replaced with knowledge and accepted. In some cases, you might be a little upset over the incident, but by not accepting the apology, the situation will escalate. A typical way of accepting an apology is by saying it's okay, don't worry about it, or former serious incidents are forgiven. The number eight is discussing money. Unlike in most countries, discussing how much you earn or how much something costs, anything from the cost of clothes up to the price of a house, is traditionally been strictly taboo subject according to British etiquette. Sometimes rich people find it embarrassing to discuss money and it can be seen as a red taker. If you're having a conversation with someone new, money and personal wealth are subjects best avoided. Only discuss money if the other person has raised this, then you know they feel comfortable talking about it. Definitely do not ask somebody how much they earn. If you talk about how much money you have and all the things you bought, it can be seen as bragging, particularly when it heightens the difference between your financial situation and that of the person you're talking to. However, things are changing and rich people are more open to discussing things such as house price or how much their holiday costs. But usually this is if the item they have bought is precipitously again. For example, if they bought their house below market value because they sell was quick sell or got a really good deal on the holiday package. And the number nine is talking about weather. In Britain, we love to talk about the weather, perhaps it's due to the unpredictability of the weather in the United Kingdom and our inability to prepare for extreme weather conditions. For example, the UK claims to have it there is more than a few inches of snowfall. Talking about weather serves as an art's breath when a British person meets stranger for safe subject discussion is the weather. The function of the conversation is to initiate contact between two individuals. The conversation will usually take a diversion once shared common ground is discovered that the weather in the UK provides us with a variety of topics as a starting point. The number 10 is a public manner or small talk. Polite conversation or small talk smooth the way when you first meet someone, making it a valuable tool for social interaction. If you have been introduced, or if you have just been introduced and exchange how do you do, you will need to think of something to follow it up. It is polite to make your next remark fairly and promptly not leave a silence. If your hostess or the person who has introduced you has given you a helpful clue, then follow it up. Otherwise, you might want to ask how they know the house or hostess, or try an old royal standby. Have you come for? You can mention the weather or if you're not a party or an event. Make a general comment about the same sport or your recent sporting event is also a good icebreaker. Where are you from? Which is standard in America? Or what do you do with traditional scene as do directly pretend? So it is best to be more circumspect. And then do not be afraid of sounding dull. Good eye contact and very smile is only going to make conversation. The key thing is to give the other person an easy opportunity to respond. Once the conversation has got going, remember to take turns and to listen. The conversation is one to one. Make sure you pay attention and do not look out the face and shoulder more for more something for more amusing company. However, something it may be, if you're trapped by a real board, that it is more fun to escape quickly than to look over their shoulder. And the number 11 is a tip. Sometimes even the greats find it difficult to know how much to tip the server in cave and restaurant, in cafes and restaurant. If anything at all, following a meal begin by checking the bill. If grid service not included, this means you can leave a tip for the person that served you and the amount is at your back discretion. If the service was good, it is customary to add an extra 10% into the bill total. Many grids tip take the driver and a hairdresser too, but the exact amount is customer preference. And number 12, which is bathroom manner. So for those who come from abroad can easily work out how to use a toilet in the UK. Imagine it can be quite confusing considering all the different ways to go to the bathroom in the world. In continental Europe, it was the norm until very recently to squat over a hole in a ground toilet. This still happens in other countries around the world, and in South America, it is common to put the used toilet roll into a bin beside the loo because their drains cannot handle paper waste. Also, in some African and Asian countries, it is customary to use your left hand while you're going through rather than toilet paper. Squat laws are gaining popularity in the UK. Many companies hire a large portion of Europe workers have installed them as for many it's the way they do their business. It might be wrong to ask this, however, some lectures claim that squatting posters bring health benefits. Apparently, it is the most natural position for us and to protect against disease. As yet, though, UK veterans has no plans to stop squat toilets. And the last one is the table manners, and it's gonna be the last manners that we're gonna talk about. So, good manners at dining table are very important in Britain. It is quite likely you will find British table manners strange when you first arrive in the UK and will take you a while to get used to them. And I'm going to give you 9 tips on having a good table manners. First is unless your host instructed to start eating immediately, wait until everyone has been served, therefore until you start eating. If you are joining in a group and food is shared, food always made before your own. However, to serve food to your neighbors first and do not take too much. Leave enough for others and do not take more than you can. Third, if you're right-handed, your knife should be held in your right hand and your fork should be held in your left hand. If you're left-handed, it's becoming more acceptable to hold your knife and fork the other way around. And then cutlery should be stacked on the sides of the plate between mouthfuls and together in the center when you arrive and when you finish. And 5, eat never talk with others food in your mouth. 6, do not easily and do not eat noisily. And you can do it very quietly and most silently. If you sing very strange, if you make a lot of noise while you eat. Take small mouthfuls, keep your mouth closed when you chew and swallow delicately. When drinking soup, do not slur. And then 7 is eat slowly, eating quickly, and or overeating makes you appear crazy. 8 is do not pass gas or wind at the dining table. In some countries, this is a sign of appreciation, like in the UK, this is seen very rude and doing so will upset other people at the dining table. And the very last one is if you're staying with homestay, you should wait until everyone has finished and you're told to leave the table. If you really need to leave, you can also leave the table. And that's it. That's the person every English manual that we are going to talk about. Thank you so much for watching, and I close this presentation by saying, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.